Well, welcome back to Factorio building the Hyperbase. Okay, let's take stock of where we are. This is building very fast. This is actually the 10th row, so that should form a complete square when it's complete, and it's just a question of how long do I let it keep building before I move the train line over here and start building out here. And I'm thinking, I mean, it does get slower and slower to do each bit, but I'm thinking that I'll try and go for probably 20 rows, though it will be very slow relatively when it gets to the 20th, but there's long gaps anyway, so it doesn't actually matter if each one of these is taking a bit longer, because our ability to supply the solar products is actually the limiting factor at the moment, so taking a bit longer and delivering each of these is not a problem. It'd be worth noting also that we now have 73,000 solar panels, so we have actually got the power well in excess of our current demand. Our current demand of 1.2 gigawatts, 73,000 panels, 50,000 is about 3 gigawatts, each 100,000 is 6 gigawatts, so 73,000 is sort of close to 4.5 gigawatts, so we're well over. I mean, I don't even think this will get to its full capacity before we've recharged these guys. This one's just burning wood. That's where its little residual amount is coming from. I don't actually have that automated just yet, but we probably have to do that in the not too distant future. So power, I think, is well under control at the rate of our current expansion. Speaking of our current expansion, I am thinking I'm going to have to bring in my engineering train, not necessarily my supply train just yet, but my engineering train fairly soon. I don't actually have the blueprint for it just to hand, so I'm going to have to pop into my last world and grab it just to save myself a lot of time. There's a fair amount of thinking with combinators that I can avoid if I just grab the blueprint, so that's what I will do. But what are we going to do this episode? Well, we are in the process of, we've finished building out the iron with 2 of our massive trains for iron plates to supply this area. I'm trying to complete the copper one as well, because if I have both of these fully resourced, they should work in such a way, resourced with modules this is, they should work in such a way that they sort of keep even in terms of how they how they use bots, and the loading and so on of all the resources should be even. So when trains come in, they can evenly come from this one and then this one, or like this one and this one, and line up and follow through back in, and so on and so forth. So it's worth ensuring that I get all the modules for this, but this is probably over 1,000 speed modules that are outstanding. I think we have, not quite, but we have just about all the prod modules required here, so it's mainly speed modules. Now down here I'm not going to worry about trying to get all of the modules sorted out. In fact, I don't think I've got any modules down here. Oh, I've got some prod modules up there. Well, we might just live with that and get trains in here so that we can start generating our green circuits and red circuits, and then move it on to the next step, which is blue circuits, speed ones, and rocket control units. I'll probably disable the rocket control unit bit and just use it for the speed module ones and the processing units, so that then we can have our own massive module build over to the side here to help feed back all the modules, since that's clearly the thing that holds us up the most. It's not the thing that holds us up, it's not the only thing that holds us up. This thing building, it's sort of catching up. This thing building the beacons is having a fairly hard time of it by itself, without any modules or beacons, so and it only goes to 960, and we need a lot more than that in some of these builds, so that's partly why I wouldn't mind having my engineering train, because I could just set it to a particular loadout and have the goods delivered to it over whatever time is necessary to see it through, and then these things could go on and build more. So for example, I could have 3 trains, 3 wagons, say, just picking up beacons, and the 4th one to be even if I didn't have my engineering train, and that is probably a pretty good idea, although some of what I want to do is actually build out a whole lot of rail, like what I actually want to do this episode. But before I get to that, there's a couple more things. You'll notice these ends are getting flattened really fast, and we're creeping up this, what was, I think it was about 180 million when we started, so it has actually started dropping quite significantly with the load that's being applied to it. So I'm actually having second thoughts over whether it actually makes sense having one of our massive trains drawing off this one, especially when I have this one out here, which is more than twice the density that we could use instead. I mean, we could always use this one as well instead, but if we were to move this, so this is the infrastructure related to it. If I moved all of that over here, what that would give me is a easy way for plastic to kind of creep around the outside and come up here, rather than sort of weave in between and out this way. So there's a lot to be said for moving this, and in fact I think I'm going to do that. I haven't, aside from the rail that has gone down, I haven't actually, when I was putting another line of miners here, my bots decided to start putting some up here, but aside from that we haven't actually laid out any of the infrastructure up there, so it's not such a big deal. But the other thing that we need, if we're to turn this on, is we need to bring coal online for our oil over here, which still needs a lot of building out, by the way, as you can see, and it needs some radars. And to get plastic we need coal. This one is well, slowly dying, but basically fully covered. Although the rate at which it's getting used has massively decreased due to the huge solar panels, so we're barely using it for power anymore. As you can see, there's none sort of getting fed there, but all these smelters are using coal, so it's still getting used down here at a reasonable rate. And you can see that even with that we're actually struggling to get enough coming through into the green circuits at this point. I might need to do something about speeding up the loading here. I might have to check to see if all of, well, they look like they're compressed belt. Maybe not quite, but yeah. Loading, or is it unloading? Are all of these stack insert unloads? Yep. Not much I can do about it then. These belts should be coming out fully compressed. Anyway, that's a distraction. So the only coal that we've got really is this one over here, a 46 million, which is kind of light. I'd like to get a decent supply, because I can really only put probably one train through the middle of that. So hopefully when we start filling it out, we'll start finding more more coal, because we need some more coal. I didn't actually increase the size of our coal. Looks like we're starting to uncover some more. I'm guessing that if we're getting 1.1 G up here, this is probably going to be some ridiculously large amount. But yes, that is the mission for today, is to basically come up here, turn this into a 820.0 coal load so that we can then have coal come down here and somehow get there. We may have to change this. It was just to help me build this out, but this is more important. So that's our mission, so let's get on with that. For starters, let's build to get close to there, which I'm going to get some steel chests. I don't need 50 of them. I wouldn't mind a few of them though. And then for starters, I'm just going to place my the stuff that I'm not using at the moment, which would be all of those things. I might use some of those. I'm not going to need my upgrade planner. Don't need beacons. Okay, so what we need is rail and signals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get, say, 4,000 rail. Oops, we were on the right one. 4,000 rail. Make sure we've got, say, 200 of those and 100 of those. Actually, we might not. Oh, getting rail up there. Okay. Then we need miners. Say 200. What else would be useful? Probably some red and blue boxes. I don't know how much room we have for them. Let's just see. Maybe I need to put a few more logistic bots into this network so I can get me my stuff faster. We're probably exhausting, whoops, this supply of stone. Maybe not. We obviously have. Oh, we've got 4.7k in storage, but at least, yeah, this uses up a fair bit of stone, so that's kind of handy. So 1, 2, 3. Yep, we've got all of that. We'll need some green stack inserters. We're not going to be able to fit all this, are we? Oh, maybe. Wow. That's pretty good. Alright, let's do our mission then. So, where do we want to go? Because I'd like to tell it. I think basically up here, we'll drive up here. I'll put in a T-junction, and then I might just put it down to 1 lane. So I'll tell it to go to coal 1 load temporarily. Ooh. We actually have to wait for a train. That's unusual. When we get past all of the busy areas, I will resume manual control. I actually should change this blueprint to have lights in it if this is going to be my main thing. I was mainly using 4 lane in the last playthrough, so that was the one that got the lights. But this one could probably do with lights as well. Do we not have signals all the way along there? Yes, we do. Alright, so we're getting to where we need to. So I may even take control now. Oh, these autosaves are happening way too frequently. So, yeah, let's see what we can do about autosaves. Is this where it is? No. 5 minutes, yeah, no, we don't even have biters. Okay, so this is where we need to start work. Let's set that to trees only for a moment. Now we'll need to adjust that again. I basically want to clear out, no, I don't actually want to limit it. Let's do that instead. Whoops. Good rail, or good-ish rail, as the case may be. I don't have any red or green wire, or the ability to make it. Oh well. We're not using it in any way at the moment anyway. Up here we can go to a single lane pretty much immediately. Oh. Resume. Of course, there is a tree just where I missed. And we're going to run out of our clearance very soon because this went out of the range. Nothing up there, good. Oops. We're probably close enough at this point. Maybe one more, because we are sort of to the side. There we go. Here we are. So, train stop. Right, this can be hashtag big coal 1. Not that it's that big. Now, a blueprint of what we're trying to do. It's basically this. So let me just grab this. there. Does all of this fit? That's the first question, and the answer is no. I thought we'd have that problem. Let's go to InfiniZoom so that we can see this more clearly. Yeah, our 20 length carriage will not fit through this tiny little patch, but we have no real option on that. We're just going to have a couple of, well, the carriages at the end are going to have a slightly longer flight path to fill. Go up there. Now let's get rid of the nonsense and then come back to InfiniZoom. So yeah, we're basically losing about a carriage worth at each end. That's alright. Well, it's going to have to be alright. Basically, they'll feed from whatever's nearest to them. I mean, you can see that's actually two carriages at that end and two carriages from this end. There's no need to fill out boxes where there is nothing, guys. I'll just have to run with what we can actually reach. Wow, has that drained all of our... Looks a bit like it, doesn't it? I suppose I needed 60 really, not 50 of the insertions, since I've got 20. Okay, so now I would quite like this to be long enough for one of our 820 trains. Back to InfiniZoom. Okay, so it needs to go something like that. So I'm going to assume that's more or less long enough. I was kind of guessing where it needed to start. But now we need to thread it over here. So basically whatever angle that comes out in, what's that thing? That's probably power, is it? I'm not sure. So I might go to the big oil at this point. We don't need that. Big oil 1. We have named that, haven't we? Yeah, big coal 1. So big oil 1, let's go there. Just see what we need to do. Okay, so what was this one for? Was that for the sulfuric acid, possibly? I'm not actually sure if it's going to be an 820 or not. Maybe. I also need an iron train for it. But this one here is the coal train. If I've got this one, I probably need to allow a little bit of space for the coal train, so that would be the closest. Wow. It can actually fit. Well, there's one for the books. Alright. I might need these resources, so I'll sort of turn... Oh, I've got that oil there as well, which you never know. Whoops. Where are we? Still shy of those. Alright, I'll come close to these and then turn, I think. Which means, of course, we need to get rid of a bit of this. And resume. Come on, little botties. Oh, I've lost my bots somewhere. Alright. Oh, and I had grenades before, but I've thrown them away. Okay. Chopping time. No, I haven't actually thrown them away, I've just put them in a box. In fact, you may have even watched me put them in a box just earlier. But it could be a different box. So, never mind. For now, we'll cut straight across here. Straight lines are best for trains. Straight non-diagonal lines are best for trains. Oh look, that bot is happy with that. That's good. Apparently they use more UPS on diagonals than they do on vertical or horizontal. And of course, if it's nice long straight, they can get up to and maintain speed, and if they do that, their total journey will be less, and the less it's moving, the less you're going to have to worry about the game animating them, and save on UPS that as well. Right, where are we? Okay, so we're going to have to thread between this whether we like it or not. I have fast bots now. It shouldn't be nearly as bad as the slow bots that we had a few episodes, well, yeah, way back when we were building the starter base. But I must say that getting even faster bots is definitely a worthwhile pursuit. Alright, that's the direction of the train, and out the other end for the arrival. Oh, what's that? We're just about filling up faster. Whoops, I definitely do not want it to do that sort of nonsense. I was going to say, I basically want this train line, or just be one big loop. At the moment dedicated for coal, because there's no reason why it can't be. Even if we are filling up with crap just about faster than we're placing train lines. Whoa. There we go. And of course. I guess at least we'll have some more resources to build even more rail with in the not too distant future. I should really make a spot here so that I can place my rail a little bit easier. Or I could always use Q to pick up the rail. Whoops, that was not what we wanted to do. Let's just tidy this up a little bit. No, that's slightly too early. How far apart am I actually building this? Just one, so it's a very close gauge. That's fine. For now, anyway. We probably need more than one coal train on this, given the length of the journey. But I just want to get something up and running quickly. Where are we going? We still have over 1,000 rail. Didn't make this quite wide enough. Oops. I certainly am appreciating the lower density of trees though. And the lack of landfill is a huge bonus to me as well. Okay, how are we going? We're coming into here now. The coal needs to you can get a little bit closer. But I want to leave a little bit of space here just in case. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to work. Well, I don't need that quite as much as that, but I do need some for sort of loading of this stuff. So let's just get rid of a few of these. Oh, I'm still way short on my bot loadout. Let's do something like that. Come on, bots. Where's the rest of where's your mates? Could be a while before we find them. Do we have power here? I'm not even sure of that. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I did run power here, so I ran it to this point. So I can at least do that. It doesn't come down to the slot though, so I can't really put it at the other end just yet. So coal needs to come out a little bit and then head up. on, how about getting rid of this bit that's directly in my way? Is that too much to ask, bots? Probably. Well, meanwhile, while the bots do that, we can have a quick look at our build-up of modules. How many have we got now? 280. 107 of the processing, which means that they've shut down. But as you can see, well, these are both going at the moment, but this isn't a particularly efficient process, but it's mainly locked by the inability to supply enough resources. So building, I know like that pattern sort of forms a rectangle and they all direct feed into each other is kind of popular, but it's not going to give us an advantage here when we can't actually, like this one is not running because it doesn't have the blue circuits in enough quantity. And every time I expand blue circuits, I then don't have enough to build these things. So yeah, this whole factory is a little bit strapped. Oh, and one other thing that I did actually that I should quickly show you while we're over here is on the feed-ins here, I've actually changed it to, that's a fast transport now, so it can load as fast as these can deliver to it, and it's fast belt down here as well, just to help push the supply all the way to the end. But it looks like it's pretty thin pickings. This bit is actually, well, I mean it's all getting forced down here, but yeah, it's copper. Copper supply is actually the problem at this point. Given how shredded this supply is. Why is that one? Oh, I should turn this into a proper balancer instead of a side balancer. That would probably help. Anyway, how are we going here? They've stopped doing anything because they're waiting on specific bots to return that are not here. Alright, fine. We'll make our own path then. Hopefully that's enough space. If not, I can always move it. I'll bring this one down just so I know where that needs to connect. Bots can catch up. Oh, here we go. Well, if you're coming down, you can do something useful, guys. Have a sip of coffee. So there's one bot somewhere in the wild still. But otherwise, that's complete. Now here's a collection of stuff that I left here, so I'm leaving this stuff all over the place at the moment. What I think I'll do is set up a train and get it to move. So I need to set up a station up there. I need to define the coal station over here properly. So you can be coal at oil 1 unload. Got all that wrong. Unload. Let's put a space just there. And we will get rid of all of those requests, and we will add in I need an 8 locomotive 20 wagon train. Let's return to base. We should have just enough time to set this up. Main base, let's go. We'll get some more boxes while we're there. The chests, the passive providers, and the requester chests to fill out the mine, and we'll get coal happening. Oh, we're going to need some bots as well, probably. Let's go with 600. Actually, let's check what we have over here. We've got 500. Well, we've got less miners, so 300. Let's go with 300. We'll grow the bot speed until 300 is going to be enough. That's kind of the idea. The question though is, are the bots in range? Oh, it's taking all my wood away. I was going to use that as fuel. Let's take that off then. No, they're not. So I probably should add in a thing there so that I can grab the bots directly. And because at this point I don't really care about the speed, I just want to get rid of excess wood. What I'm going to do, I might just add an extra 100 to the bots in this network. What I'm going to do actually is come over here and I might just grab all that wood, because it's not actually automatically getting cleared from there, so that will kind of help us a little bit. Let's go to our new coal stop, which is hashtag bcoal1, and set up this train. That's why I didn't show all the crafting of the rail lines for our fairly enlarged setup. It kind of would have gotten a little bit, well, it would have taken several episodes anyway, let's put it that way. So if we want to keep this moving, there's a limit to, I can't give you every minute. My last playthrough is 600 hours plus, so do you want 600 episodes? Anyway, here we are. So what I want to do is place wagons down properly. Like so. Then place those, and from that I should be able to work out where this goes. I think it's there. Now, if we use our wood, I think I've got enough to give each engine 2. What have I got left? Not much. There, 250 wood each. So it'll be a damn slow train. This can be big coal 1 load. Jump on board this train, back it up. Now go to big coal load until inventory full. Now let's just make sure that our, yep, that looks right. Okay, let's get some power up here. Got some big poles, so that should work. Right. Right up until they run into the trees. Ooh. There we go. Cool. Now we just need to give these guys, what's your problem? Are you, oh you are, you're outside of the zone, but not for long. Now you can have all of these guys. How many did you get? 300? Oh, they don't have coal in here, they have iron ore, so let's change that to coal in the amount of 700. And put that in all the requester chests. Right. All 300 of them are busy. We'll see later if we actually need more. How's UPS going at this point? 5.6. It is starting to climb. Do we have radar up here? Yes, we do. Good. And look! There's a lovely big coal just up above us. That is probably the greatest news that we could have got. 96 million, so that's twice this one. Excellent. We will use that almost for sure, but not just now. So how are we going here? It's probably taking its time. Cargo contents 10k, and each one of the, oh, they're almost, well, that one started though. Let's check the back. Yeah, that's a lot lighter. I think this whole train can take 40,000. So we're not actually that close. I mean, this wagon is full, but the rest of the wagons are pretty light. We don't actually have to wait for it. What we will do is tell it to go to coal oil 1, unload till inventory empty. For now that should be fine. 16k. We're not even using all 300 bots. That's a function of how fast these guys are and how much they've actually got in here. But that will have to do us. So that brings coal online, which means that we can get this online. What do we mainly need here? We mainly need power. I need to copy all that across. We need to supply it with oil. And we need to fill this one out with modules. How's the module build now? 370. So you see it's going to take quite a while, basically 3 times as long as that, to get enough for finishing off that module build. But that's okay. Next time, I think what we will do is we will move down to the next segment, the final segment that we need to do. We'll also integrate how all of these are going to return, because the red and green flow straight through into this next segment, so we want it nice and close so their total path is really short and tight. And they'll never go anywhere except at this early stage when we're going to divert them for modules. They'll never go anywhere other than straight into this next section. So that's what we'll do next time. Thanks for joining me for this. Looking forward to seeing you in the next. Bye bye for now.